Tonight, would you let this spell in your game? Hi, my name is Paul Zajac.
And I'm Charlie Steckel.
Welcome to DnDSPN. This is the channel where we smash together Dungeons and Dragons and sports commentary.
Kind of. So guys, tonight we're going to look in on the battle just as one of the Yuan-Ti finishes up its attack. We're about to move on to the next player when something happens.
So you're a crit. You take 24 points of poison damage.
Ooh,
that's a lot. Ha ha! Serpentor screams out, Barbara the Snake Charmer, you are up.
If I can, I'd like to use a reaction and cast Eyeburn on it. Con save 11. He fails, he's blinded.
Okay, so we just saw a reaction spell. It's called Eyeburn, comes out of the Crooked Moon third-party expansion set. I want to talk about reaction spells in general, and particularly this spell. Charlie, what are your thoughts?
I noticed a lot with the expanded content. When you buy this stuff outright, these builds are so much more overpowered than you would expect them to be. So you go back to the old days of, this is your cleric, this is your fighter, this is your rogue, before subclasses were, even really a big thing. But now it seems there's so many extra features and spells and things that you can do on a turn that are just explosive. And this isn't even on their turn. So to be able to outside your own turn, drop a ton of damage and inflict a condition on an enemy, that's devastating.
Yeah. So briefly, I'm going to put up a graph here that takes a look at the percentage of spells within each of the expansion books that took place in this adventure. What percentage of the spells are reaction spells? And we see that like the Crooked Moon, and then the other sources, Grim Hollow and the Cthulhu Mythos, considerably higher numbers of reaction spells than there are in the 2024 Player's Handbook. In fact, there's only, I think, 5 reaction spells in the 2024 Player's Handbook. And so it's, they're quite powerful just because they're so rare and there's a benefit to action economy. We also see how overpowered they can be, because there's notably one spell that didn't make it to 2024 that got kind of universally bashed, or people were pretty opinionated about it, which is Silvery Barbs from the Strixhaven Adventures, right? And people loved it or hated it, but they definitely had an opinion on it. So just going back and talking particularly about this spell, Eyeburn, right? It on a reaction, you force a creature to have a saving throw. If they fail, they're blinded, so they get disadvantage to attacks. You have advantage to attack them, and even if they fail, even if they succeed on the saving throw, they get you get to subtract 1d4 from the attack roll on which they're using it. So it's pretty powerful, right? I'm not sure I'd let this in my game. And one of the things that makes me think about, it's hard to be a third-party developer, I'm sure, right? You don't have the big machinery behind you and whatever, but you can just play with the game, right? You don't have the responsibility to make it balanced. You're trying to make it fun.
Exactly. I mean, and I think people maybe that are watching the channel understand that, but now I am all about the rule of fun. I've said it a million times, but is it really fun when the monster's no challenge? You sit back but you don't want to deny someone that in a game. I went through all this trouble to make my build. I built a backstory. Eyeburn might be a key part of their backstory that, that they work in somehow with being blinded. Maybe they had, hot lava thrown in their father's face as a kid, or, they like to throw sand on the playground. You can find ways to work stuff like that into your backstory, but wow, you compare that to, oh, I knocked your sword out of your hand. Well, I got another one, versus oh, you can't see, and now we have free reign to just beat the hell out of you. It's really not, to me, this spell is pretty broken. It's pretty tough, but still, as a guy who wants people to have fun in his games,
so
bring it.
Okay, so ultimately, would you or would you not let this in your game?
Yes, I would let it in the game, and not deny it. And then it becomes my lesson as a dungeon master to find a way to make their life miserable afterwards.
And I guess I'd have to think about it. It would have to make sense thematically. And then it would have to be the type of player who I knew was like working with everybody to make it a fun story. Because if you just like spam this like every time, it could just get boring, and other characters might be like, hey.
If you're a dungeon master that runs a lot of pickup games, Paul, you gotta leave that open. You know, there are people out there that are dungeon masters that'll pick someone up that don't have time to vet someone ahead of time. So, you know, and you got to make it a very fun and welcoming world. And
he's open. Yeah, he's opening up his bag. He's taking out the Eyeburn. Oh, what am I going to do now? Yeah, I guess that's right.
Well, did you know my character, the monster had true sight? You know, like it's you can't backpedal like that. It's a little egregious, but you know what? If they're laying waste to your enemy, then go back, add another monster in. There's nothing to stop you from doing that as a dungeon master. But in this particular fight, it was pretty close.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a yes from Charlie. It's a maybe from me. Viewers, tell us what you think. If you want to see the battle from which this clip was taken, you can watch the full thing over on our second channel, DnDSPN 2, The Deuce. And if you like what we're doing, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. All right.
Yeah. See you guys later, we hope.